Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel Knowledge Stone. Today we are going to discuss about clinical data management. Before we start the topic, I would like to request you all to watch my previous videos on clinical research so you will be able to understand the process better. It is better to give you a knowledge about protocol also. So I would like to give you a scenario. So for any operation or for any process, we need to learn how the process will be conducted. We need a guidebook for that process. So here in the clinical trial, we can say protocol is the guidebook here, and I will cover this topic on protocol in separate video. So let's start with the topic for today, clinical data management. Clinical data management is involved in all aspects of processing the clinical data, working with a range of computer applications, database systems to support collection, cleaning and management of subject or trial data. Data management in clinical research relates to the processes of gathering, capturing, monitoring, analyzing and reporting on data. Data management begins with the development of the data management plan and design of the data capture instrument. For example, case report form or CRF continues with data collection and regular quality control procedures, the database cleaning, locking and ends with the analyzing, archiving and write-up. Why CDM? Review and approval of new drugs by regulatory agencies is dependent upon a trust that clinical trials data presented are of sufficient integrity to ensure confidence in results and conclusions presented by pharma company. Important to obtaining that trust is adherence to quality standards and practices. Hence, companies must assure that all staff involved in clinical research are trained and qualified to perform data management tasks. So now we will discuss about the clinical data management process. So first, protocol designing takes place. After that, eCRF or case report form is designed. After the designing of case report form, database is designed. And after that, database validation, database collection, data entry, medical coding, SAE reconciliation, database cleaning, database log, statistical analysis and the final report. So what is the importance of clinical data management? The objectives of good clinical data management are to ensure that the study database is an accurate and true representation of what took place in the study, sufficiently clean to support the statistical analysis and its interpretation. Review and approval of new drugs by regulatory agencies is dependent upon a trust that clinical trial data presented are of sufficient integrity to ensure confidence in result and conclusion presented by pharmaceutical companies. Important to obtaining that trust is adherence to quality standards and practices. Hence, companies must assure that all staffs involved in clinical research are trained and qualified to perform data management tasks. Responsibilities of CDM, or we can say the process of the CDM. So clinical data management is divided into the three important stages. The freshers who are looking for a job opportunity in clinical data management field, please do remember that in various interviews or technical round, interviewer may ask you about the different stages of clinical data management. So the first stage is known as study setup. So what is conducted during what is done during the study setup of the clinical data management process? CRF or ECRF design and development, whether it can be paper or electronic CRF. Database build and testing, edit check preparation and testing. Study conduct is the another stage of clinical data management where data entry takes place. Discrepancy management, data coding using MEDRA and WHO-DD dictionaries. So data coding is also known as medical coding. Data review, also known as ongoing QC, SAE reconciliation, data transfer. And the last stage of clinical data management is known as study closeout. So in study closeout, the database lock, electronic archival and database transfers takes place. So we can see that here in study closeouts, SAE reconciliation is given, but SAE reconciliation is a part of study conduct. So quality check or ongoing review, manual review before the database lock or study lock takes place. So what is CDM process? So let's give you an overview of the CDM process. So first, protocol designing takes place, and here you can see that the CDM processes are divided into three parts. So in study startup phase, you can see that CRF design is done, and after designing the CRF, quality check takes place. And during the quality check, if there is any issue or if there is any error found, the feedback is sent to the CRF designers, and based on the feedback they make the correction, and again they send it for quality check. After that, database design. So same like CRF design, database design is done by the programmers, and after the designing of the database, they share it to the quality check department. They do the quality check, and if they find any error, they share the feedback with them, and the database designer works on those feedbacks and share the updated design database for the check. After that, edit checks takes place, and similarly in edit checks also it is shared with quality check, and if there is no issue with the edit checks, then the database is activated. After that, data entry takes place. So data entry is mainly done by the site personnel, whether it can be investigator or it can be clinical research coordinator. So I have covered all the roles and responsibility in my previous video. So if you don't know about the roles, please go through my previous video. In the conduct phase, discrepancy management takes place. It is one of the most important part of the conduct phase, where queries are raised to the investigator, and after all the issues are resolved in the query discrepancy management, database and if it is not it is marked as a clean data. And similarly in coding, medical coding, the medical coder checks whether all the data is clean or not, and if it is not clean, they send a query to the particular stakeholders. So after the discrepancy management and coding, if there is no issue, so this is marked as a clean data. So after that, closeout phase or closeout stage takes place, where the database is QC'd. Each and every aspects of the ECRF forms are thoroughly checked, and if it is marked as clean data, then database is locked. I will cover a separate topic on the startup phase, conduct phase and closeout phase. I will share another video on the three different stages in my YouTube channel. So what is CRF or eCRF? A CRF, also known as data collection form, turns the protocol into the data capture system. The CRF is essential in obtaining accurate and complete study data. CRF is a printed, optical or electronic document that is designed to record all of the protocol required information to be reported to the sponsor on each study subject. A CRF can be traditional paper-based case report form or eCRF, electronic case report form, where study information is directly captured or entered into computer or the database. So based on the present situation or present scenario in clinical data management, mainly all the data are captured in eCRF only. In a very less in a very less data management processes, paper CRF are used, or it can be considered as obsolete. Now we'll discuss about CRF design and review. So a representation of the study as outlined in the protocol is made, including CRF completion guidelines if necessary. Therefore, a final protocol needs to be available before this activity can be initiated. So before the designing of the eCRF or case report form, a protocol is needed, or an approved protocol is required for the design. CRF design usually takes about 3 rounds. First one is first draft, where the eCRF designing is initiated in a draft format, rough, without detail but correct content. Second draft, as good as we can get it, and final version. We need input from our sponsor to correct draft version and to approve the final version. Traditional paper-based case report forms, eCRF, study information where is directly entered in the computer or in the clinical database. So eCRF is prepared by using Oracle Clinical. Freshers do remember these names: Inform and Rave. So these 3 are also known as the database in clinical data management: Oracle Clinical, Inform and Rave. These are the databases where eCRF, you will be able to identify the eCRF, you will work on the data present in the eCRF in 3 databases. And each and every organization, whenever they clinical in the if specifically I would say in clinical research field or clinical data management, the each and every organization uses either Inform or Rave or Oracle Clinical to capture the data or to work on the data management process. So we'll discuss about the study conduct process. So after the activated database, data entry, data loading, CRF and external data takes place. After that, discrepancy management. After that, SAE data reconciliation and coding terms are coded. And after that, query generation. Suppose you have identified any issues during discrepancy management, medical coding or SAE reconciliation. So those issues are identified and maintained in a particular tracker, and it is sent to the particular stakeholders, whether it can be the PV team or whether it can be a site, whether it can be an investigator. So after sending the query, the data management team expects the resolution from the particular stakeholder in a particular given time. Suppose there are some timelines that needs to be maintained in the clinical data management. So based on their response, suppose a query is identified, an issue is identified during data management process, and it needs to be addressed by the particular site. So When the site provides the response, the query is closed, and similarly the data is considered as clean. So after that, resolution and update takes place in the database, where based on the query, suppose I will give you one example where in demography the weight is mentioned as 200 kg. So based on the protocol, as I have discussed earlier, that protocol is a guidebook, we can see that patient who are 60 to 120 kg are eligible for this study or for this trial. So here we can see the weight is more than 120 kg. So for that we need to confirm if the site has entered the data incorrectly. So for that purpose a query is raised to site, and when site reviews and checks the data, so the site identifies yes, it is entered in error, so they correct or update the database by entering the correct data. So when they do enter the correct data, the data manager or the CDM professional reviews the data and considers whether it is correct or not. So manual checks or QC is performed. So these are the activity of study conduct process, and I have shown the chart here. Now we will discuss about discrepancy management. So the discrepancy management is a process of cleaning subject data in the clinical data management system, or we can say the clinical database. It includes manual checks and program checks. The trial discrepancies are closed as per self-evident correction method or universal ruling, and discrepancies which require response from the site are queried by raising data clarification form, or it is directly raised in the REV or inform database. So we will discuss about the medical coding. So in medical coding, the medical coding for a study is done as per the project specific protocol requirement. The dictionaries are used for a study are for adverse event, MIDRA, medical dictionary for regulatory activities. Freshers, do remember that this question is also asked by the interviewer, that what is MIDRA or what is the full form of MIDRA. Medications, for medications, WHODD, World Health Organization Drug Dictionary is used. Manual coding is performed using Thesaurus Management System or TMS, which is integrated with our clinical data management system. SAE Reconciliation. This is one of the vital process in the conduct stage of clinical data management, where serious adverse event data reconciled is the comparison of key safety data variables between clinical data management system and master drug safety database. So in a layman language, we can say that adverse event or serious adverse event in a clinical trial is reported to both safety team and clinical data management team. So safety team maintains the adverse event or serious adverse event data in the safety database, and the clinical data management team maintains the data in clinical database. So reconciliation is performed to ensure that event residing in both database are consistent. That means if fever is reported in the clinical database, it should be fever in the safety database. Suppose for particular subject in clinical database fever is reported, but in safety database it is reported as headache. So in that situation we can consider that the data is discrepant and not matching or not consistent. So in this scenario, query is raised for to the particular stakeholders. Now we will discuss about study closeout process. So after the discrepancy management, safety reconciliation and coding turn, a QC is performed. During QC, queries are raised to the site the QC is performed by doing a manual review or review by the data listing, or by various reports. Program listings are used for the review of the clinical database or these three datas. After that, query is raised and the resolution is received. Based on the resolution, the update is done in the database. When the data is updated, manual checks are performed by the data management professional, the data managers, and after reviewing all the data and after the final review, and it is considered by all the stakeholders, then the data is clean, so the database lock activity takes place. So before the database lock, the freezing activity takes place. So what is freezing? Freezing is a soft lock, or where the eCRF forms are freezed, where the data managers or the lead data managers or particular stakeholders only have the authority. Site cannot have the authority, or site cannot enter or edit the data. Only data management or professionals can enter or edit the data. So this process is known as freezing, and database lock is when all the data for this particular study is clean, database is locked. So database lock activity done by various method. It is a crucial activity. A mail is sent to the sponsor for the approval, and after the approval from the sponsor, database lock takes place. And after the database lock, the study data management professional will also not be able to enter or edit any data in that particular database for that study. So quality control. Quality should be maintained for overall study by performing quality checks at interval for all data points. So it is performed prior to database lock. QC helps to ensure that all the data processed is accurate, clean and correct. So based on the QC result, the database lock is initiated and performed. And now we are going to discuss about the database lock. I have already discussed the database lock. However, I will give you the explanation, the description. So the database lock for a study is done to ensure no manipulation of study data during the final analysis. Database lock for a study is done once all data management activities are completed. This includes the database lock checklist, which ensures the same. Some of the activities included in database lock checklist are all discrepancies closed, DCFs or data clarification forms received and updated, coding completed, SAE reconciliation process completed, etc. Analysis reporting process review. So first, in this process, database release takes place, and then data extraction, mapping, statistical report generation, e-publishing, publish tables, figures and listing, creation of clinical study report, submission of clinical study report. So after the database lock, these process takes place. Objectives of CDM. CDM is a vital vehicle to clinical trials to ensure the integrity and quality of data being transferred from trial subject to a database system, that the collected data is complete and accurate so that results are correct, that trial database is complete and accurate and a true representation of what took place in trial. The trial database is sufficiently clean to support statistical analysis and its subsequent presentation and interpretation. Importance of CDM. CDM has evolved from a mere data entry process to much diverse process today. It provides data and database in a usual format in a timely manner. It ensures clean data and a ready to log database. Now, CDM Professional. So who are eligible to be a part of CDM Professional? I have also discussed this topic in my previous video, where what are the various roles in a clinical research industry. So in particularly, CDM Professional can be considered as a pharmacist, graduates, postgraduates in life science, IT and statistics, graduates with post-graduation diploma in clinical research, licensed medical practitioner. So as per the ICH E6 guidelines, ICH E6 is also known as GCP, Good Clinical Practices, utilize qualified individual to supervise overall conduct of the trial, are known as project manager, to handle and verify the data manager, to conduct the statistical analysis, biostatistician, and to prepare study reports, medical writers. So what are the role of data management team or data management professional? So the data management function provides all data collection and data validation for a clinical trial program. Data management is essential to the overall clinical research function, as its key deliverable is the data to support the submission. Assuring the overall accuracy and integrity of the clinical trial data is the core business of the data management function. Data management starts with the creation of the study protocol. At the study level, data management ends when the database is locked and the clinical study report is final. At the compound level of the drug, data management ends when the submission package is assembled and complete. So this is the, in short, overall data management process. First the CRF is designed, after that data entry takes place, after that cleaning, and then statistical analysis. So the mission of CDM is consistency, accuracy, validity, and archiving. So thank you so much, guys. If you think that this video helped you to understand the clinical data management process, please do like and subscribe my YouTube channel for more upcoming videos related to the clinical research industry. Thank you so much.